Hello, and welcome to another edition of Coffee Talk with attorney Brian Lerner. In this particular episode, I'd like to talk about an item that seems to cause some confusion with a lot of people who are drafting their wills. Um, a lot of times, they will put everything under the sun in the will, and then they will say who it is supposed to go to. And for the most part, that's okay. However, there are certain items where that's not okay, and where by operation of law that doesn't happen. Let me just give you an example. Let's say that you have a piece of real property, okay? And let's say that, for example, you own the real property outright. So you'll say, something like, upon my death, this property that I own at such and such XYZ Street will go and so and so. Okay, nothing wrong with that. But let's say that the title of the property is not held just with you. Let's say it is held between you and your husband, let's say. So, and let's say it's held as in joint ownership with right of survivorship. Okay, in joint tenancy with right of survivorship. So the same property, at XYZ Street, let's say that you make a will. Okay, and let's say that you and your husband are divorced, and you say, at the time of my death, the property at XYZ Street will go to my son, John Jr., and so forth. Well, in that particular case, it won't work because the property itself is in the title joint tenancy with right of survivorship. And of law, the moment you die, the property then, through operation of law, meaning automatically becomes 100% of your husband's, okay, or the other person who is listed on the property. You cannot give the property to somebody else when the title of the property mandates that it's going to go to the other joint tenant. Okay, and I give this example because this is a lot of times what people do. I'll give another example. Let's say you have a life insurance policy, and you make the life insurance policy 20 years ago, and you're filling out the form, and one of the questions, and it's always one of the questions, who's the beneficiary? And let's say again you put the beneficiary is your son, John Jr. And then 20 years later, you remember you have a life insurance policy, and you say in your will, upon my death, my life insurance policy will go to my granddaughter, Sally Jane. Okay. Um, because you had in the life insurance policy who the beneficiary was, Junior, you cannot now just in a will change that and send it to Sally. Okay. And so there are different items that exist that do not go in a will, and they cannot pass under a will whether you want them to or not. Okay, I mean, there's ways of changing it. I mean, for example, with the example I just gave, the life insurance policy, just call up the life insurance company and change the beneficiary to whomever you want. Okay, that's how you do it. You don't put it in the will. Um, so when normally is a situation where you cannot pass the property by a will? Okay, well, we've gone over a couple of them. One of them is joint tenancy property. And if a property is held in joint tenancy with right of survivorship, it goes to whoever is the other joint tenant. Even if you have more than two joint tenants, you could have more than two. But at any rate, it goes to whoever is the surviving tenant. Okay, the surviving joint tenant. That will go. There's also a community property with right of survivorship. So, which is different than just community property. So if the title to the property says community property with right of survivorship, then it doesn't go under a will. It will pass to whoever the survivor is, if that's what you want. If that's not what you want, then you're going to have to change property to what it should be. Okay, others are pay on death accounts or a POD account. Okay, essentially that is an account where, which would be you, dies. Then basically it states who is to get the account. Okay, that's a pay on death. Exactly what it. I mean, basically it does exactly what it says. It pays on whoever is designated as the beneficiary. There are also life insurance policies over. Those already have pre-designated beneficiaries, and when the condition is met, meaning you die, it will be sent to whoever's the beneficiary. Likewise, for the most part, annuities, pension plans, retirement plans, all of those will pass to designated beneficiaries and are not subject to testamentary disposition. Okay, which means you cannot dispose of them through will or trust or anything like that. It doesn't mean that you can't list them. I mean, generally when I do a living trust, for example, or a will for my clients, there'll be a Schedule A, which has all the property listed, and it doesn't have to list all the property that's going to somebody. I specifically list the life insurance policies, the retirement plans, all of that, because what happens is the life insurance company, for example, is not calling you up every week to see if you're still alive. I mean, you could go years and never see anybody could ever see a penny of it because they don't know it exists. So I put that in the will specifically, or the trust, to let the executor or the trustee know that there is a life insurance policy out there, that this is the account number, this is the company, this is where it needs to go, so that when they are administering the trust, or it's going through probate, whatever it is, there is notice of where those life insurance policies are, and it makes it a whole lot easier on the executor and or trustee, if they know where it is, what the account number is, and so forth. Then all they have to do is contact the company, certificate, and then boom, the money will get distributed. Okay, so that's how that works. Then the only other items are various securities which are registered in beneficiary form, and it's the same type of thing where they designate a beneficiary if they were to die. And so all of those items cannot pass by will and need to be properly listed so that it will properly go to whomever it is supposed to go to. Okay, if you like the video, click like, click subscribe. You can also call my office for a free consultation, either in LA or in Long Beach, and I can see what I can do to help. Okay, more on the coming videos.